During my freshman year of college, I tried meditating for 10 minutes a day for 6 months. And if you've ever tried meditating, you know even 10 minutes can be brutal. 2 minutes in, your back is uncomfortable and you're wondering why you're even doing this. 5 minutes in, you forget you're even supposed to be looking at your breath. By 8 minutes in, you're not even meditating, you're just thinking about that test that you need to study for. I realized pretty quickly that my mind was a mess and I need to do something drastic to improve it. So, I did what any rational person would do. I signed up for a 10-day meditation course where I'd be out in the forest with no phone, no internet, no books, and no communication of any kind. The only thing I'll be doing is just meditating. So, what did I get out of it, and was it worth it? Well, let's go back and see. So, day 0, I guess you could say, of this 10-day meditation retreat. Basically how it works is I signed up for this course online. They take you out to one of their facilities, which is actually in the middle of a forest, so it's definitely very secluded. But the rules are pretty strict here. As soon as I got in, they had me check in. They took my phone and any other devices, so I couldn't wirelessly communicate. I had to confirm that I was going to stay here for 10 days. I can't leave. And they sort of force you to stay. And I was also going to be in complete silence. No verbal or even nonverbal communication of any kind. So I guess that's what we're going to be following. So I started to get ready by taking a look at the schedule and getting prepared. As you can imagine, most of what was on it was just meditating. But there was one thing that I wasn't prepared for. I was gonna have to wake up at 4 a.m. every single day. And that's when I knew this is gonna be rough. Okay, I'm gonna be really honest with you. This has been a lot more challenging than I thought it was gonna be. I know the purpose here is to come here and to just meditate, but I almost didn't expect how much I'd need to meditate. Like, you wake up and you start meditating, you take a shower and you start meditating, you eat something and then you start meditating, and when that's the only thing that you can or need to do, it honestly starts to drive you a little insane, especially because I can't talk to anyone, can't communicate, I can't journal any thoughts that I'm having in my head. And as I'm doing this, like, every single thought that's running through my head, it's trying to say, you know, why are you here? What are you here for? This is completely boring, it's really worthless. And honestly, it's very, very tempting. Like, I want to go back and steal back my phone so I can get out of here or check something online. It's taking an insane amount of willpower to stay here and not just, you know, get up and leave. And as much as I really, really want to, a part of me is sort of looking at this and wondering, why am I so uncomfortable just sitting here and doing nothing? I'm not really being asked to exert myself physically or mentally. Even if I don't get anything out of it, I just feel like I need to understand why I'm so uncomfortable doing this. Okay, so it's day 5 here. I honestly don't know how I made it past the first half, because especially those first few days, they were probably some of the most challenging days that I've ever had. Since then, I feel like I've gotten a lot more calmer and comfortable being here and being asked to just do nothing. I feel like I can observe my breath, you know, without constantly fighting it and actively going against myself. I think one of the biggest things that I realized was how much my mind, even though I'm being asked to just kind of observe the present and see things as they are, just how much my mind wants to not do that. It wants to analyze it, make up a story. It's like whatever it wants to do, it doesn't want me to just observe the present, because if I'm just observing the present, then I don't actually need my mind. I can just look at things as the way they are. It sort of makes me wonder, as I've been here so long, is how often have I really looked at the world around me? Maybe you looked at this tree and looked at it for just the way it was, rather than thinking about trees, thinking about something else while I'm looking at it. I feel like that's a pretty big change that I've noticed after 5 days in, is that I'm way more in tune with the present moment, and I'm really glad that I stuck with it past the first few days. Okay, so day 8 here. I ran a little experiment earlier today to test something out. So the point of the meditation so far has been to observe our experience throughout our entire body and be able to not react to it like we used to. And the idea is that these reactions are what causes a lot of fear, suffering, craving, and if we learn not to react to them, then we end up being equanimous. So, in order to put this to the test, I went against my natural enemy, bugs. During this little mini experiment, I decided to meditate right outside the facility in a small little area where I knew that there were a lot of bugs. Now, normally if I even just see or hear a bug, I'm instantly dashing the other way, so I really wanted to see if I had grown and learned not to be so averse to them as I'd been before. And I gotta be honest, for the first 10 minutes, it didn't seem like anything had changed. I heard buzzing all around me and felt what were like insects crawling right around my legs and feet. I kept trying to shake and move myself to kind of prove that I wasn't some kind of plant so the bugs wouldn't touch me. And honestly, I was getting kind of scared that something was going to bite or sting me and just was getting ready to leave. But eventually I remembered what I was there for. I knew that those were the feelings that my body was trying to have. So the question was whether I was going to react to them. I decided to sit there and not react to all those feelings that I had, and after 5 minutes I was wondering what the heck I was scared about to begin with. All of that buzzing and yet no bug had actually flown onto me. All of those feelings of insects crawling and yet nothing was crawling on me. I realized I spent those last 10 minutes absolutely hating being there for insects and bugs, even though nothing had even gotten close to me. I've been reacting to all these sensations that I was producing, and as a result, causing my own misery. It made me realize probably the biggest insight of this whole experience, which is that sometimes we're the ones causing our own suffering. Okay, so day 10, we're obviously on the final day here. We're just on the verge of breaking our silence and being able to go home. And so what did I think of the journey? Well, I'm way too excited to get back home, so I'm gonna let you know there. So, 10 days later from the meditation retreat, and what did I think? Well, I should really say 3 years later, because if it wasn't obvious, this is me recreating what the experience was like. I didn't actually go to the course with my camera vlogging throughout all of it. Sorry if that ruined the magic of it a bit, but I do recall how it did feel the moment I left the facility, which is, I remember feeling more peaceful, more relaxed, way less disturbed with my thoughts and emotions. And it's been so impactful that I still continue to meditate 1 hour a day at the very least. With all the things that I learned throughout the 10 days, I could say that this is probably the most impactful thing that I've ever done for myself. And all I could think about since I've gone on the trip is wishing other people could also go on it so they can experience what I've experienced as well. So yes, it is challenging and you do have to commit yourself to staying there before you go in, but I promise it's really, really worth it, even just to have the experience of saying that you meditated for 10 days in complete silence in the middle of a forest. But yeah, I don't think you're going to regret it by the end of it. I think it's one of the most life-changing things that you can do. I'll leave a link to the course application below. They provide free food, housing, it's all volunteer run. Everything you need is provided for you and there's no out-of-pocket costs. So yeah, as long as you've got the commitment, you're going to be able to do it. And by the end of it, you're going to be a completely different person.